The sound of a lunch tray clattering to the ground usually didn't get anyone's attention at Ridgeway High. But today, everything went still. It wasn't the sound. It was what happened next. Three boys, tall, athletic, the kind who thought the hallways belonged to them, had just done something so inappropriate that a few students gasped out loud. Connor Reynolds, the tallest of the three, reached out as the new girl passed and patted her hip. Not a friendly tap. Not an accident. A deliberate, degrading gesture. Laughter exploded from their table. Phones came out to record. And the girl? She didn't drop her lunch. She didn't shout. She didn't even look embarrassed. Instead, she turned her head slowly and smiled. Nobody knew it then, but that smile was the beginning of their nightmare. Chapter 1: The New Girl Who Didn't Belong. Lena Ray's life was a suitcase. Her father's job in logistics meant they rarely stayed in one place for more than a year. Every time she started to feel settled, another transfer notice came. By the time she arrived at Ridgeway High, she was used to the routine: new teachers, new cafeteria smells, new unspoken social rules. And almost always, a new group of people who tested her. Her first morning at Ridgeway, she walked into homeroom wearing a simple hoodie and jeans. She didn't make eye contact with anyone, just took the empty seat in the far corner. Most people didn't pay much attention. But at Ridgeway, if you didn't try to fit in, you stood out, and the wrong kind of people noticed. Chapter 2: The Kings of Ridgeway. Derek Hall, Miles Carter, and Connor Reynolds weren't just popular, they owned the social food chain. Varsity basketball stars, constant attendees of every weekend party, and the kind of guys whose bad behavior was brushed off as boys being boys. They thrived on attention, especially when it came at someone else's expense. Their favorite targets were the quiet, the new, or the different. It didn't take long before Lena was on their radar. Chapter 3: The First Signs. The first week, it was Derek accidentally bumping into her in the hallway, sending her water bottle rolling. "Oops," he said with a grin that wasn't sorry at all. The second week, Miles slid into her seat in the library. "Sorry, princess, this table's taken." She moved without a word, and they laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. Lena stayed quiet. She'd seen this before. The louder you reacted, the more fun they had. Chapter 4: The Cafeteria Incident. By week 3, they decided it was time to humiliate her publicly. It happened on a Friday. The cafeteria was packed, students laughing and eating, music buzzing from someone's speaker. Lena walked past their table with her tray when Derek leaned toward Miles, whispered something, and nodded toward her. Connor didn't hesitate. As she passed, his hand shot out and patted her hip hard enough for everyone around to see. The sound of their laughter spread like wildfire. Someone shouted, "Dang, Connor." Another yelled, "Welcome to Ridgeway." Lena stopped in her tracks. Every eye was on her. The normal reaction would have been anger, embarrassment, maybe even tears. But Lena just turned her head, met their eyes, and smiled. A small, knowing smile. The boys laughed harder, thinking they had won. But in reality, that was the exact moment they started losing. Chapter 5: Whispers and Watchers. By the end of the day, the cafeteria story was everywhere. People debated what her smile meant. Some said she was too scared to react. Others claimed she was weird. Lena didn't explain herself to anyone. But she knew one thing: they thought she was harmless. That was her advantage. She'd dealt with boys like them before in Illinois, in Texas, in Oregon. And she'd learned something important: when you can't beat them with strength, you beat them with proof. Chapter 6: Quiet Preparation. Over the next few days, Lena watched them. She noticed how they walked in packs, how they talked louder when girls were around, how they laughed at their own cruelty. She also noticed their biggest weakness: their ego. They didn't just want to be admired, they needed it. And the only thing they feared more than losing popularity was being exposed. Her plan began with a small test. On Monday, she video-called her cousin during lunch and walked near their table. Sure enough, Derek made a crude comment about her. She acted like she didn't hear. But the call was recorded. The next day, she overheard Miles bragging in the locker room about sneaking into the girls' sports office to peek at the cheerleaders' schedule. She casually pulled out her phone in her hoodie pocket and hit record. 2 pieces of evidence. She needed one more. Chapter 7, the final piece. Wednesday afternoon, in the hallway after practice, Connor tried to block her path. "You're quiet," he said with a smirk. "I like that." Lena looked at him blankly. "Move." He laughed, leaning in. "Make me." That was all she needed, his voice, his arrogance, captured crystal clear on her phone's mic. The puzzle was complete. Chapter 8, the pep rally. Friday arrived, the biggest event of Spirit Week. The gym was decorated in school colors, the bleachers packed with students, parents, teachers, and even a local TV crew. There was an open mic segment where students could share jokes, cheers, or quick speeches. When Lena's name was called, the crowd looked confused. She walked to the center, microphone in hand, heart pounding, but her voice steady. "I was going to do a cheer," she began, "but I think we should listen to something first." She plugged her phone into the sound system. First clip, Derek and Miles making disgusting comments. Gasps echoed through the gym. Second clip, Miles bragging about sneaking into the girls' office. Teachers' faces darkened. Third clip, the cafeteria video of Connor patting her hip, the laughter, her smile. The gym went silent. Then came the wave of booing. Teachers moved quickly to escort the boys out. The principal announced they were suspended pending investigation. Chapter 9, the fallout. The boys didn't come back for 2 weeks. Rumors flew about meetings with parents, angry calls from the school board, and college recruiters withdrawing offers. When they finally returned, the swagger was gone. They kept their heads down, avoided eye contact, and no longer traveled in a loud pack. As for Lena, she was no longer invisible. Students she'd never spoken to before came to sit with her at lunch. Teachers praised her bravery. She had turned the tables without ever raising her voice. Chapter 10, the real victory. A week later, Lena saw a freshman girl drop her books after an older student bumped her shoulder. The older student laughed and walked away. Lena bent down, helped the girl gather her books, and said, "Don't worry. People like that? They always get what's coming to them." The girl smiled. And for the first time since moving to Ridgeway, Lena felt something she hadn't in a long time, like she truly belonged. Closing message to viewers. If you've ever been humiliated, bullied, or made to feel powerless, remember Lena's story. Strength isn't always about shouting the loudest or fighting the hardest. Sometimes, the quietest actions make the biggest impact. Speech Balloon, tell me in the comments, have you ever seen someone turn the tables on a bully in a clever way? Pushpin, and don't forget, subscribe to my channel, be kind always, for more powerful true stories that prove kindness and courage are the ultimate strengths.